Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how to get started with a free blog type or portfolio account, just to put some stuff online. You can use a number of different ones. This is just Weebly.com. So I'm going to show you this one, and so many of them are very similar that it shouldn't take too much for you to kind of get going with this. All right, so if I go to Weebly.com, you can then go over here to pricing just to show you, and then if you look here, you've got some different options, and these options may change over time, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and select the free basic use one. And you would sign up here because I already have a Square account. Square is the money payment system similar to PayPal. I already have one, so I'm going to sign in using Square. And it's going to take me to something that looks similar to this. Yours might look a little bit different just because I've already chosen a theme once. So, but it shows you some different options for themes. And I don't want an online store. I want to choose portfolio. You could look at all these other ones too and kind of play around. But just for the simplicity of kind of getting through what we're doing, we're going to just start here with portfolio. And I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one. If you wanted to preview it, you could click on preview. If that's not available, you can also select it and you can preview the theme and so on. So I'm just going to go ahead and say choose theme, and then what it'll do is it drops me into this editor interface, and you can kind of look through the site a little bit. So for instance, if I wanted to see what's on home, it kind of has these different pieces and parts that I could, or you could modify. You could add different pictures. You can just remove things completely. You'll notice that as I hover over these things, they highlight, and it has a little X. I could just close it, or I could expand it by clicking on this, move it around. And there's so you can just explore the options. If you want a really simple home page, you could remove a lot of stuff too. Let's say that I don't like this jellyfish picture. If I kind of click on it on the background here, see it jumps down, it says edit background, replace header layout. Let's just keep it simple for now. I'm going to click on edit background, and I can either replace it. I don't really have a picture that I'm specifically thinking of right now, but you would want to make sure, of course, if you do replace it with a picture, that it has a pretty good resolution, that it's a high quality image. But instead, I'm going to click on this drop down, and I want to choose to make it a background color. And I can make it whatever color I want. So let's say that I want the color to be like this kind of charcoal color, right? Let's just stick with that. Okay, and so now this is what I've got. I've just got this sort of bland looking home page. So if you want to use a background image, you can. It's really up to you how you want to do this. Something else that you can do is you can just drag and drop things over here. Like, so if you didn't want something to go full screen, but you, for instance, wanted a slideshow or an image, you could like drag and drop this in here, and it would ask you to upload the image. You would have to click it, and it would go into your file system. You would find the picture, and so on. I'm going to just delete that. But you can add all sorts of different things over here. I could add some text if I want. I'll just add a title, for instance, and it says click here to edit. And let's go ahead first of all, and let's change the color so that it's much brighter. And we'll go ahead and type in Lee. Oops. Yeah. No. Lee. Cotner. I'll go ahead and put my full name, and then I'm going to select my text and spell my name right actually. All right. Select my text, and let's actually try to change that color again. Let's try going so it's got full brightness all the way to the fullest brightness, maybe white. All right, and so here's my name. It can be down at the lower part, or I can drag it up and have it be centered or wherever. I either want it at the top, or I guess it wants me to put it at the top or bottom because I've also got this thing here. This, if I select it, it's a spacer, so it's just filling up space. I can take this and collapse it since it's a spacer. I could also just technically remove it. I wouldn't want this text because this text is of that picture of the ocean. So I would want to remove it if I didn't want to keep this here, right? So you could leave this on the portfolio, and then it would link to the portfolio page. You've also got portfolio up here. So really, it's kind of up to you how you want to do this, right? If I click on this whole thing, I can get rid of it if I want. Let's see, if I just hover over there, I click the X, I can delete it. And now I've just got my name, right? And then you could put more text if you wanted. And then it's really kind of up to you how you want to design this. And this might be where underneath I would, come down here and say MAT-120. design brief, you could call this. You could also call it design brief site. You could also just make this a portfolio website if you want. This part's up to you, but the point of why I'm having you do this, because this isn't a web design class, but the reason I'm having you do this is so that you'll have a place that you can present your work whenever it is in progress. So if I ask you to go and collect 10 images for this, like the first project or something, you'll have a place to go and create a space where you can upload 10 pictures and I can see what you've got. If I ask you to upload video, you can we'll show you how to upload video to YouTube and use Embed Code, because if you want to have video uploaded to this, you have to actually pay for it. So if you can upload it for free to YouTube, you can use Embed Code to include your videos here, right? And so on and so on, right? And so this is a little bit of a simple interface design. You can start to kind of figure out how you want to design this. It can be a really simple. You can include all of this content down here, or you could just save some of that and have it go into your portfolio. Right? This is really drab and boring, right? This is not very interesting. I would expect that you would make something more interesting. However, this is just the introduction right now, so that you can get started with the class and have some place to present your content. So let's say that you did want to go over here to portfolio, okay? So if we go to portfolio, you'll see right here it says edit this text, make it your own, and just start typing, put stuff here, whatever, right? And then you've also got this place where you can add pictures. So this is a portfolio where you might, the way that you would want to consider your portfolio is this work would be yours. This isn't the place I would really anticipate that you should be putting, if you're going to keep it as a portfolio, that you would put other people's work, right? You wouldn't want to click on a link that says portfolio and then it really belongs to other people. Instead, this is where you might want to, later come back and edit this portfolio, and you could remove all these picture files and you could embed video code, for instance. I'm going to just take this and type something of my own, just so that you can see that this would show up like this, right? And what I can do then is come over to this left side, and I'm looking for the embed code, and I don't see it, so I can click on show all elements, and here's an embed code right here. So what I would want to do, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, is I could drop the embed code here. It'll load, and the embed code is going to allow for custom HTML. It's not regular text, it's custom HTML. So if I go to YouTube and grab something, I have a tab open right here, what I can do is find a video. This is just something of my own. I can go over where it says share and click on share, and you see where it says embed. I'm going to just go ahead and copy by clicking on that. Of course, this has to be something that has embed code available through YouTube or Vimeo or something like that, right? And then I can come back over here. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in my custom HTML, click on edit custom HTML, and I can just paste. And if you want to make this larger, see right now it's got the width set to 560 by 315. You could make it bigger, right? You could make it whatever size you need it to be. And if, for instance, you needed that to happen, we can go back over here to share, click on embed, and you could change it here. It doesn't actually, it won't do the automatic modification for you. So you would have to actually figure out the math. And if you weren't sure what that math is, then let's find my calculator. So if I were to take a look, for instance, at this ratio, so if I go back to share, go back to here, if you ever want to figure out what the ratio of something is, you would divide the height by the width. So let's do that. Let's say 315, oops, divided by 560. Okay, and so you would multiply that to figure out what you would want the dimension to be if you knew what the width was, right? So let's say that we want to multiply this times like 800 because we want it to be at least 800 wide. So if I say times 800, okay, then I know that it would be 800 by 450, for instance. Okay, so that's one of the ways that you can figure out like how to get the ratio to be correct. So if I go edit, I can say 800, and then I can change this to 450, for instance, and you see now it's bigger, right? And I could make it bigger yet, right? So I'm gonna, and if I wanted to make this the full size, I would just continue doing that until it was the right size. So anyway, if I wanted a video to show up, that's how I could have a video show up. So that would be something for this class probably that you would end up with in your portfolio section, not just still images. But that's up to you. You can do that however you want. Right now I'm just throwing stuff in here haphazardly, right? And you can make this stuff change. Now, if I wanted to go to my blog, right, then I can create blog posts, and this is where whenever you would click new post, you would create something and then you would describe what it is. This would be something you would do for your design brief, for instance, like whenever you're showing me that you found at least 10 images or 10 audio files or 10 videos and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new post. And so let's just say that this is going to be my stream of consciousness image collection. And then what I can do is I can drag some elements here. So first of all, I can do a slideshow. That's one option. Let's see what the other options are. Show all elements. I could do block quotes, which would be sort of like a call out. All right, anyway, so if you wanted to do a slideshow, you could just have one thing here. You could also do like a gallery. Let's just do a gallery and see what options we get. So I'll click on upload images and we will click upload file from your computer. And I have a folder here called Weebly and then 10 images that I collected. And one of the things that you might notice if you look at your information about each file is to see how big it is. So this is pretty large. It's 3.4 megabytes because the resolution is huge. It's 45, almost 4,600 pixels wide by almost 3,500 pixels tall. That's a really large image. It doesn't need to be that big to go on the web. So you could either make these a smaller version and then upload them, or you can just try to upload them as is. And you see it's taking a little bit of time to upload, and that's because it's such a huge picture. That also means this page is going to load really slow. If you know how to make your picture smaller, then you can do that in Photoshop. Okay, and so it finished uploading, and then it's got this small picture here, right? And so if I want to keep adding, I can do columns, I can do captions, and so on, and then we're going to click on Add Images. So I'm going to upload all of these other ones as well. Choose all of these. This is going to take some time, so whenever I do this, I'm just going to go ahead and pause until it's uploaded. Okay, so all of these photographs have finished uploading. Now, if I wanted to add captions, then you just click on the actual picture itself. So actually, that's not what I want. I want to, yeah, so I just clicked on the picture itself. If you get that other box that pops up, which, by the way, you can get by just clicking on this background of the element, the gallery element, but if you want to add a caption, you just need to click on the actual picture itself. So here's the thing. If I take, let's go back into my file system, and you should have also done something where you end up having attributions. So whenever you are collecting your pictures and your videos and things like that, you should also keep like a list of your image attributions and your video attributions and audio attributions. So I'm going to open up this file. This is a file that I had saved earlier, and I made the name of the pictures such that it's easy for me to map who did them, right? So let's see what picture this is. So that's the one by Aaron Burden. And so what I would want to do is I would want to take this photo credit, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to make that the caption. And then we can say done. And then if we want to put a link to this person, then we can also do that. Let's go back here. You don't have to put a link for the purposes of this, but I'm going to just copy the link. So I right-clicked and I'm going to say copy link. And we're going to add a link, and we're going to do website URL. We'll say open it in a new window. Okay, and then now that links. And then you can have alternative text, and this would be plant with a water droplet, or leaf or something like that. Leaf with water droplet. And you might be wondering what alternative text is. What alternative text is if somebody has a screen reader, it tells them what the content of the picture is. So if you leave out the alt text for the purposes of this assignment, it's not the end of the world. However, technically, just so you know, you should always include alt text for ADA accessibility. And so let's say that I'm going to go ahead and do all of my captions. I won't make you watch me do all of those. Okay, so I finished putting in my my captions and stuff, right? And so they all have captions and with the credits and so on. Now, the other thing too that I would encourage you to do, that you should do actually, is add a title to this somewhere. Like, you can come in here and put a title that would say inspired by doubt, right? Like, let's say that doubt was the word that I had selected. I go ahead and put inspired by doubt, right? And so now I have got these pictures that it's sort of a little bit more clear that it's inspired by the word doubt, okay? And whenever you're done, you can save it or you can post it. If you save it, what's going to happen, well, let me show you what happens. I'll save it, and something like this happens, and you look at it and you go, whoa, where'd it go? What it did is it saved it as a draft. So if I click on this draft again, I can choose that to edit again. And if I think I'm all done with it, then I can post. And of course, you can write something here about yourself, not in this screen, but in the main blog page screen, right? So if I want to post this, let's just go ahead and post. It's been added to the blog page, but it's not live yet, right? Because we haven't published it yet. So anyway, so this is where on my blog page, if I wanted to write something about myself, I could. You would do that, or you would say something here. That's fine. Or you could. Doesn't even have to be about the author. It could be what this is, design brief, and you could write, that this is like your sketchbook. You could call it digital sketchbook or something. Digital sketchbook, right? And then whatever you want to say. This is an interactive record of my project research or something like that, right? And it doesn't have to be that, it could be something else, whatever. Additionally, you might want to call this something other than blog and other than my site. So like if you were to put your name here, I'm just going to put Jane Doe. I know I put my name on the main page, which I could adjust. Let's go back home and let's just say Jane Doe. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the blog page. Actually, we'll put this as, you can call it design brief site, digital sketchbook, portfolio, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so I'm going to go back over here where it says blog. And let's just change this name and just call this research or something like that. Research, writing, and ideas or something like that. Okay. All right. And then if we want, we could just go ahead. Let's just publish it. And we're going to use, and it's not ready for prime time, but we can always continue making changes. We'll use a subdomain of Weebly. Yeah, I'll do cotner.weebly.com. Okay, and then we'll click on continue. It's going to publish it, and I don't want to upgrade. Okay. And so now what we can do is I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to cotner.weebly.com, and this is the site, and you can see it's got the Powered by Weebly ad over here because it's free. So it'll have that until you decide you want to pay for it, if you decide. And you can see that all this this content that was here before is still here. So you can go back and change it, get rid of it, whatever. And then let's look at our blog page. Right, and so there are a couple things I want to show you. So there's some different ways that you can deal with captions, and I'll show you some of the ways. And you'll notice on this one though that I didn't put anything there. And the reason I didn't put a caption on that one is because I want to show you the difference of behavior. So on these, I have captions that have the photo credit on them, and if I click it, because I put a link to the author, right, to Airden Burden on this one, for instance, it will link out and it'll go to that person's page, all right? But on this one, I didn't put a caption. I could have put a caption, but I didn't. But more importantly, I didn't put a link. And so if you don't put a link that takes it somewhere else, it'll just open up in a lightbox format so that you can see the picture larger. And so that's really what I would expect you to do whenever you're showing me these pictures, because one of the things that you'll notice, actually you won't notice it on that picture, but on some of these others, like this one is a vertical picture, but in the thumbnail it's horizontal. So I wouldn't actually know what that full picture looks like. So let's just go back real quick and I'll show you some settings that you can adjust.